Let's go live now to Kristen Burnell. She's with the former colonel of the Rhode Island State Police, our law enforcement analyst, Steve O'Donnell. Kristen.
Mike, Shannon, Tim, we just wrapped up, as you saw, that press conference just a short time ago here at the fire station. And 12 News law enforcement analyst Stephen O'Donnell is here now. So big takeaways from that. We didn't get too much new information at all, but we did know that this is the last conference of the night that we can expect. What are your takeaways from so far, where things stand with the investigation, and also that video that was released?
The video is semi-helpful. You can't see the suspect's face. You can see his gait, the way he walked. He walked with a limp. Initially, you would think there might have been like a long gun secreted to that, but the information I'm aware of is they're looking at the shell casings. So the shell casings would be for a long gun or for a handgun. So the understanding I have is the shell casings are some type of handgun with high-capacity magazines, and those things get talked about a lot. So for those who don't understand it, multiple bullets that go into the magazine and multiple magazines that they can use to reload. So they're going to be looking for someone who's thicker. If they already said he's around in the 30s, they made that determination based on some type of facial recognition. Thick, athletic build, you can see him. He's then probably walking with a natural limp. That could be helpful. And he goes on to Waterman, and they lost him. So if there's video from there, if he took an Uber, if he took a taxi, if he made his way to a bus, airports, all those things, it was very clear that law enforcement is looking at. There are some things I'm sure they're just not going to share. It's brief, the way they explained it. The FBI supervisor from Boston explained that, assets are here. The FBI director is involved directly. So there's a lot of people coming here. You have even other federal agencies that really typically don't get involved in the investigatory process. They're here to help search. Door to door, knocking on doors, talking to people. I've probably talked to 24 people that live in this area that I know through some type of contact that, hey, I want my grandmother to leave, or there's a student. We let them go, but then they violate that code that the mayor asked for, sheltering in place, because the unknown is the scary part here. Nobody knows where this person is. Then he's walking pretty quickly, pretty smartly, so to speak, to leave, but did he get in a vehicle? Typically, the only way out somewhere, but did he have a car? Again, was it a stolen car? Did someone help him? Did he get an Uber or somebody that just picked him up? And then, we're 6 hours into this. 6 hours away is a long way he could be. So the other states have to be paying attention to it. It's very common in these investigations. Other agencies stay alert, and somebody may see them. So the more publicity goes with this, the more it's pushed out there. Everything they can. If they have other video, I think they should. They talked about video in the building. This is Brown University in a big school. I got to believe there's got to be more video that they can see. What they did reveal was video that is kind of, I wouldn't say grainy. And then another issue popped up with the doors, that the doors are open. I know it's a secondary issue because that has nothing to do with pursuing the suspect, but why are the doors unlocked? Because an exam, that doesn't really fly, that's the reason, but it's not going to change what happened. So again, you have grieving families, you have scared, we saw a video, you and I looked at a video of the Brown students with the hands up, just like you saw in Columbine and other places, where that's really a horror show for some student, and that's going to stick with them forever. And how about the parents have to see that nationwide, and your children are here, and they're worried about them, they're concerned. Are they talking to the loved ones, and then talking them down from the trauma that you have, because that is obviously not a usual situation for anybody, never mind a college student. So the final piece is the law enforcement piece, where they're out there. It's unprecedented, and I'd say that with some vigor, that they're going door to door, knocking on doors and making sure that person isn't there. And they're not just doing that, they're also, Chief Perez was really eloquent in stating about transportation hubs. Those things happen. You get on the phones and you talk to people. But again, if you don't know what you're looking for, and if he's I wouldn't say sophisticated criminal, but he's escaped so far, so he's made some type of plan. I'm certain he's not wearing black clothes anymore. Those things have probably been changed. Whatever hat he on has been changed, possibly. And again, without a face to look at, it makes it really difficult without some type of lead. So the people that watch this have to pick up the phone and call law enforcement. This is what I saw. Even if they think it really has no value, it may have some value. And don't hesitate, and get involved if you can. And as the future goes, see something, say something. you and I talked off camera about the insanity of this, but trying to even contemplate talking to people about this, and then skipping, you have to go talk to your children. This is what just happened, because they're going to know, they're going to hear, it's public, what's going on. And then I'm not sure which one of the leaders talked about schools, like the FBI supervisor. Yeah, they're the agents' kids go to these schools, so questions are going to be asked, and you're getting asked questions, I'm getting asked questions, why this, why that? I think you got to give them a little chance to breathe, and what I mean by that is let them do their thing. These are trained professionals, they're really good at what they do, and it's not easy sometimes trying to find suspects. That's just the nature of crime, and there's right now that we know about in the public, there's no really good, solid evidentiary value of that person's face. But I will tell you, they mentioned the evidence response team being here from the Bureau. That's a specialized group, sort of like hostage rescue. They don't do the same function, but they're trained in forensic and not just fingerprints and things like that, but those bullets may have fingerprints on them. That's something to think about. The shell casings, they're being analyzed right now if they're not already been analyzed for fingerprints. Whatever they can find from that, if they can, that might identify a suspect, and that puts a face to it. If that suspect's in the system, and if the suspect's never been arrested, they're not in the system. So there's a lot that goes to that. DNA, they could test those for DNA, and if that person, the DNA is in the system, then they can find and ID people. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. So I think some of the reporters, I think, incorrectly said, how come we're not doing it so quick? It takes time. The first hour you can catch a suspect, but now it's more of an investigative process to find out where he went, and if it's in fact a he. Like, we haven't even determined if that's a he. We assume it is by the way he looks, but no one's told us otherwise. It could be, doubtful, but it is what it is. So at the end of the day, I trust, and I think most people trust, you have really good, and you have an overwhelming force, FBI, DEA, ATF, the United States Marshals. The United States Marshals, when you identify someone, are unbelievable at tracking people. The Joint Terrorism Task Force was here, just in case it's terrorism related. So there's a whole bunch of resources that are descending on the state of Rhode Island to help find this person and bring him to justice or neutralize the suspect. Those are two options.
And we also saw in that video there was 2 cars on the street that he walked by that could have been potentially have dash cam video and red light camera video, hopefully helping in this investigation. But I also want to go back to the perimeter set for the shelter in place. That's going to be staying throughout the night. It hasn't been expanded throughout the rest of the city. But talk a little bit about that. For the mayor also mentioned that people can still go about their day tomorrow in the city if they have any plans. They shouldn't be too worried. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you got to continue. Part of terrorism is to do exactly what's happening, instill fear. That's the number one of, if there's any option, fear. That's exactly what somebody wants. And so I admire the mayor's decision. You got to keep moving on, whatever's happening tomorrow, but you got to be cautious with that. This person's still at large. They could be local, they may not. You can't assume they're gone. So the shelter in place, that's his decision as a leader. So I would say you abide by that shelter in place. Back to the cars, those cars could have car video. A lot of people have video they're 365 videos that could have picked it up. I'm sure they're talking to the owners of those cars and other cars that we may not see that might be parked there. Or a car might have been parked there between 4 and 3 and seen it and gone, and you might remember that, hey, I was over there, I was on Waterman Avenue, I was on Hope Street, my car was near there. Well, call the police, because maybe you might have something, or analyze your video. Let them analyze it for you. So the more people who know that what happened, as bad as it is, may help solve this.
All right, our law enforcement analyst, Stephen O'Donnell, thank you so much for your insight all throughout this evening. We really appreciate it. I'm going to send things back to Mike, Shannon, and Tim in the studio.